Jermaine, thanks for joining us. Obviously, the day ahead of the game against Scotland. How's feelings in the camp ahead of that big international?
Yeah, it's been really good. I mean, camp's been fantastic this week. Obviously, last week we were really disappointed with our effort and our performance, and we felt we let a lot of people down, ourselves included. So this week there was a real emphasis on making sure that we were back on point, and we, for want of a better word, found our mojo back a little bit. And camp's been great this week. The boys are on really good spirits, really high spirits. Training's been fantastic. I feel like we've got the balance, really well this week between sort of training and the social time and the time that we're together. And, we're just really excited now to go out there and hopefully put a few wrongs right.
How important is that? You mentioned social time. How important is that building the cohesion? Obviously, you've got a year ahead of the World Cup. Time is precious, but how important is that to build relationships within the squad?
Massive. I talk about this a lot with this group. It's an unbelievable group to be in, and the camaraderie and the togetherness that we've got is unbelievable. It's nothing like I've experienced before in any team or any group I've been involved in. So it's really important. That's going to be a massive strength for us going forward next year. So it's really important that we build on that and we make sure that first of all, we're friends. Everyone knows each other. Everyone knows each other's families, and it's important that we build that and we keep that togetherness because. Undoubtedly times are going to be tough and people are going to go through hard situations and they need to know that they've got people to fall back on. So, that's a vital part of what we've done. We've worked really hard on making sure that we keep that. We have the camp in June. We've got obviously the games now. We'll get another get together hopefully in June next year in the international week. So, I think we're very fortunate in that respect. We've had these games in and we've had some time together, and I think, I look at some of the other home nations that they've just not had that time together and not had the ability to get together. So, it's going to hold us in really good stead going forward.
Obviously, we all wanted the World Cup to go ahead, but I guess that extra time has been is good for the smaller nations to develop those relationships.
Yeah, it's a catch-22 for us, I guess, with Jamaica. I think there's a lot of boys who are now going to have to probably extend their careers a year longer than what possibly they wanted to. So, from that perspective, it's not great. But on the same note, as you just said, then it gives us more time to put things in place. It gives us more time to iron out any issues. These two camps have been brilliant for exactly that, just working out the logistics of what it's like to be in camp and how do we manage that. And obviously we're based in Leeds, but a lot of the people live not too far away. So how do we balance that time between giving them time to go see their family still, but also being in camp and making sure we keep that intensity? And it's been a really steep learning curve last week in particular, but this week I feel like we've got, as I said, we seem to have got the balance a million times better this week, and it's worked well for us.
And I guess it's not just the relationships within the squad and the players, but mentioning that game against England Knights a couple of years ago at Headingley, that connection with the Jamaican community across West Yorkshire and across the country.
Yeah, exactly. We want to, as we've said all along, that's a big focus of us as an organisation. It's not just about the World Cup. It's not just about this group of players. It's about the next generation. It's about the legacy. It's about the role models that we can become within the community. And it's vital that we can show our face and get out. And we went to Carr Manor School this week and we had a fantastic time with some of the students at Carr Manor. And, hopefully we're inspiring that next generation. And if we can do that, then we put ourselves in good stead. And, we come looking forward to the 2025 World Cup. And it's important that we have a new breed of player. As I said, we've got a number of players who will probably finish next year and they'll be looking to try and finish at the pinnacle in terms of playing the World Cup. And we need to have that next generation of player going through. And it's, all the time that we're spending in the community, all the work that Alex and Jason are doing to promote ourselves and our organisation and our brand is massively important.
And how important is it that there is a Jamaica national team? We were speaking to Isaac Farrell yesterday. Obviously, when his dad played, there was no Jamaica side. He played for England and Wales, but now there is a pathway. And I guess if any of these players do go on and be massively successful, they can still play for England in the future.
Yeah, exactly. That's huge. We try and identify on a consistent basis. We're trying to identify young players that are coming through the academy system. And, like you just said, Dan, hopefully, we wish them all the best. I'm hoping that we'll have players that will come through and England will come calling and England will want them to come. And I guess what's important for us is that we are such a close-knit group and that we build ourselves into such a family, so to speak, that, despite the fact that bigger nations may well come calling, they'll want to stay and they want to play with us and they want to, understand the importance of representing their heritage. And we hope that, the way that we do things and the group that we have and the camaraderie that we have will ensure that those players will want to stay with us and work with us long term.
Scotland tomorrow, what are you expecting from that game?
Scotland are a good team. I watched them play the last test game they played against Greece. I think I did the commentary on the game, and I thought, they started the game like a house on fire. They've got some fantastic players in the group. Liam Hood's great out of dummy half, and they've got Alex Walker and Ryan Brierley who were there every 2 seconds. The minute the breaks had, and off the back of that, they've got some really strong forwards in Sam Luckley and Dale Ferguson, and some real championship and Super League experience within that group. So, for us, I guess it's an opportunity to reset from last week and get ourselves in the best position, and probably see similar to where Scotland and Ireland and the other home nations are going to be come World Cup time. They've got more experience than us in that respect. Unfortunately, we've got some of our bigger players missing this game due to a variety of reasons, but again, it's an opportunity for some of the younger boys to come through and try make a claim for that position. So for us, it's going to be a tough game. But like anything, it's very cliche. It's about us doing us and us making sure that we get our processes right, and us coming off the field knowing that we are, we've given everything, we've left everything out on the pitch, and as long as we can come off and look each other in the eye and know we've done that, again, a very cliche, but the result will look after the result.
As 2021 comes to an end, obviously 2022 is going to be a different year for you as you move across the capital. How difficult was it to leave the Scholars to join the London Broncos?
Yeah, it's a tough one. Scholars have been in my DNA, so to speak. Since I moved to London, the reason I moved there was to go and play for Scholars, and they were going to help me out in my career, which they did. They gave me that stepping stone to start teaching, and again, obviously, they gave me that stepping stone into carrying on my playing career, but then also taking on my coaching career. So it's a tough one to leave, but I think probably the right time. I think I've done a number of years there now, and not all of them have been very successful, but I think what we have done, and I guess maybe sometimes you don't get the recognition for, is the gap's never widened. I've played with the same group of players for 5 or 6 years, and the gap's never got any bigger. So as much as the team up north have recruited and got better and better, I've managed to make them same incremental gains with the players that I've got. So from that point, I think I leave pretty satisfied, but obviously disappointed that I've not been able to be more successful. But now I have an opportunity at a fantastic club, and a club I've spent a lot of time working with over the number of years at Scholars. So I feel it's probably the right time now to step up and give myself an opportunity to coach and be at a higher level. And it's one I intend on taking fully, really.
Finally, what we've mentioned what we expect from Scotland. What are we going to see from Jamaica then tomorrow? You said you want to see an improvement in effort from what you saw last week.
Yeah, I think for us, it's just getting back to our systems and our processes. One of the things that again I just touched on before was about our camaraderie and our togetherness. And I think for me, we didn't show that enough last week. So I want us to be a little bit more relentless. I want us to show a little bit more passion, a little bit more desire. And again, very cliche, but I think if we can do that and we can hold on to the ball and we can stick to our systems a little bit and not get kind of caught up and wrapped up in the occasion, then we give ourselves a very good opportunity. Ultimately Scotland are full of players that are playing at a similar level to what we have. So from that perspective, the contest should be a little bit closer. They wouldn't have played games for a number of weeks. They've not been training for a number of weeks. Like us, they've had the week camp and a couple of training sessions. So I think it's going to be a lot tighter game, a lot closer game. I think it'll be very physical. I think it'll probably a little bit slower, which probably suits both teams a little bit nicer, to be honest with you. And yeah, I think you're just going to see in a good contest. The Scots are going to be very passionate about what they do. I've seen them play before, and they want to represent their heritage just as much as we do. So I think you'll see two teams desperate to put on a performance and show that they're both in a good position going forward for the World Cup.